Hey guys, this is Amal from Leathercraft 209. I just wanted to post a quick video update on the FitBit Flex custom leather bracelet that I've been working on. I do have a prototype video on my YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. I'll explain part of that video for anyone who's just watching this. The customer request was to get a FitBit Flex module into a leather bracelet. The first design was basically trying to get like a small leather pouch just on the bottom of the bracelet, and while I played with it, I didn't really like it because so much of the bracelet was sticking out. So much of the Fitbit was sticking out, and so one of the design ideas we came up with is this kind of countersunk pocket. So if you look really carefully, this bracelet is two layers of leather. There's a thin layer and there's a thick layer underneath. The thick layer is about 1/8 of an inch thick. And basically I cut a slot into it to accommodate the Fitbit. This is the Fitbit model. When I wet mold this, for example. So the idea is that it goes in, and let me see if I can get the right angle so you can see. When it goes in, it kind of sinks in there. So when you try to pull this out, and I did leave a little bit of play right there, just to account for any variation. But anyway, it's still not going to come out. There's that ledge that it catches onto. But what it essentially does is it sinks the body of the Fitbit further into the bracelet. So it just makes a slimmer kind of band. But yeah, this is the finished bracelet. This is all hand stitched. In the future, it'll probably be machine stitched. Just because getting hand stitching into this really thick leather with a needle, hand needle, the saddle stitch, it just took a while, and I already have another machine that would handle this thickness without problem, and I have figured out how to kind of accommodate for this. It's something I would order if I got more orders for this. But anyway, so yeah, this is the finished bracelet, hand stitched. One of the things we chose the antique gel. Looks like a medium brown. And what the antique gel does is it kind of fills in every kind of mark and crevice in the leather. So for example, the tooling, if you look back here in this sole leather, you can kind of see this like a stretch mark or something, and it kind of highlighted that area. So one of the things it does also though is, so on the edge, since this is two layers coming together, you can kind of see, this is smooth. If you run your finger over it, you couldn't tell this is actually two pieces of leather put together. But if you look at it at the right angle, you can see that the dye did fill in right there where that seam is. Even though when you run your finger over it and you look at it at a profile view, it seems pretty smooth. So it does show that though. If you can see that. Okay. So the option for that is, so of course you could just leave it how it is, kind of that natural brown, showing that, or they make a black. They call it edge dye. So I'll show you really quick. This is like a furon I did where the top layer is really a thin fur, and so I backed it with just another, like a thicker but still flexible like another layer. So on this you can kind of see this is a black edge dye. I hope you can tell. Now this furon doesn't burnish and smooth as well as vegetable tan leather does. So when I wood slicked it and kind of to smooth it out, the fur one is not going to take the same kind of smoothing out that a regular veg tan bracelet would. But anyway, hopefully it gives you an idea. It kind of creates this black shiny coat at the edge. And this looks a little rough just because of the furon, but this is really slicked up. So when I put black dye on that, it's it's still going to be shiny and slick, but it's going to be black. So it's just one option. I could leave it how it is. I could leave it brown, or I could put a black edge dye on. The other thing I wanted to show, and I had a couple people ask about this, was a closure mechanism. So the first closure, the typical closure on my bracelets are line 20 snaps, right? So I usually put 2 when I'm selling it at my store or the market, because then it has some adjustment to it. And so that's the way to make it semi-adjustable, of course, is to snap. The deal with this though is that it's really thick because of how it's lined. And so this is that scrap one I did in the first video, just to show you. I punched a hole over there, And a regular line 20 snap, let me grab one. So this is the cap, right? That goes on that cap. So the way it would attach is you would put this cap on, and you would want the socket part to kind of attach here. But you can see the post barely sticks out, right? And on on the finished product, the leather is almost a little bit thicker, because this one I've been kind of playing with a little bit. So basically, it won't catch. I won't be able to set this socket because there's not enough of the post sticking out. So I would need to use what's called a line 24 snap. So I'll show you really quick. This is line 20. This is line 24. Okay. So it is a little bit thicker. But when you put that through, if I can get that through, a lot more, and it's kind of hard to, I mean, I'll have to hammer it down a little bit, but a lot more of the post sticks out, and then when you come to attach it, put the little cap on or whatever, and set it, it will hold, catch better. So that is the option. It's the line 24 snap. They are larger, right? So, for example, here's the post of a line 20, and here's a post of a line 24. If you can see that or not. Okay. So that's the post end, that the other end that catches. But to make an adjustable bracelet, I mean, you could put two line 20, line 24 snaps, kind of like this deal. But what I like to do to make a adjustable bracelet is what's called a button stud, and I'll show that really quick. So this is that scrap bracelet. So this is a button stud. Hopefully I can get that to focus. And basically, it's a stud with a ball on the end of it, and this one has a screw. It's a screw back design. So the basic idea is I punched about 4 holes. I can punch however many you want. I can punch 3 holes or even 2 holes or whatever. But the basic idea would be that you would have a set of holes probably like a 1/4 inch apart or a 1/2 inch apart, and you can unscrew this and basically move this down the holes. And so if you need it loose, you would have it on the furthest edge. If you wanted it tighter, you would move the button stud down over here. And then what happens is the bracelet comes around, and so ignore this hole because that was for another reason. And there's this kind of a large hole, a slit, and like kind of a relief hole is what I call it. So the button stud comes around, and you basically get the ball lined up, and you push it in. And I might need to custom order a specific button stud. I mean, this one fits alright. Hopefully you can see that. But they make one that the post is just a little bit longer. So I might do that. This is a scrap bracelet, just to reiterate. So this is how you would make an adjustable bracelet. Now the cool thing about this, because I was playing with it, is that if in the future, so I mean, right now when you have this bracelet on, this is the finished prototype, finished. Is you have this little bump out a little bit. Let me zoom out a little bit. So you have this kind of bracelet on, and I still have a lot of play here, right? I accounted for that. But anyway, so I have about 7.25 wrist, 7.5. So if you move it up my wrist, you still see a little bit of that bump out, right? And that's fine. But having the button stud allows for you to kind of customize the size. And what I found was, on this one, like I pressed in the wet mold, and if for some reason in the future you decide you don't want to use the FitBit anymore or whatever, let me see if I can get this on camera. Having the option to have it adjustable, you can tighten up the button stud hole and make it fit basically like a regular bracelet, right? I don't know if you can see that or not, because the pressure is kind of keeping it held in place. Whereas if you had a snap like this, for example, this is one of the bracelets I make. It would always be this size. I mean, you could tighten up a little bit, but the fit would always be that. This is an upcycle belt, in case anyone's wondering. Anyway, so hope that makes sense. So yeah, this is the kind of the way I would make. This is how I do my adjustable bracelets for someone who's ordering a gift or something. And the button stud is nice. I mean, the one complaint I've heard from people, not from anyone who's ordered from me, but in general, is over time there is a potential for this leather to kind of wear out a little bit and loosen up. Now, having said that, this is a really thick combination of leather, so I think it would take some time before there was actually any real wear. So you can kind of see how, in the first couple times it's probably going to be stiff until until it does wear, it does soften up a little bit. But yeah, so that's the idea of having an adjustable bracelet. So this would be like, say, one fit or whatever, and then if you wanted to tighten it up, you would move it. And then I think the customer wrist measurement is 8.5. So basically, what I like to do when I do something like this is I have 5 holes, and the middle hole is usually the 5.5 measurement, or what would theoretically be the 5.5 measurement. And then the customer has the option to go 2 spots over to make it larger, or 2 spots in to make it tighter. And the 5 holes really allows for the most flexibility. It's kind of like a belt, I guess. And you can see that it doesn't really show like if you have this closed on your wrist, for example, the hole shows a little bit compared to, like, say, something like this, where the spare metal buckle or snap does show. If you're on the last snap. Of course, if you're on the closest snap, then this doesn't matter. It's just gonna be whatever it is. But yeah, so this is how I would make it adjustable Fitbit bracelet, is to use a button stud. This button stud might be, like I said, a little too short, the post wise. I mean, you can see the ball of the button stud popping out right there, and it's catching pretty good actually. So this might just be right. I'm gonna go check my supplier to see if they have one size up, just because of how thick this leather is that has to fit between this post right here. Right, so anyway guys, let me know what you think. So this is the closure options, basically, is an adjustable button stud or a line 24 snap. Right, line 20 won't work, just for reference. Line 24, line 20. This is a line 20. Line 24 would be just a little bit bigger, but the post is longer to accommodate and go actually through the leather. So let me know about the closure, and let me know about what you want to do with this edge. You can leave it kind of how it is, natural brown, antiqued, or I can put a black edge finish on it. Alright guys, take care. If you have any questions or want to custom order anything, go check out my website at www.leathercraft209.com. There's contact information there. I have a blog to kind of the most recent projects, and I think I have a link to some of my YouTube videos also. Okay, take care. Bye.